Joe, I think you'd be shocked to hear that I agree with much of what you said. Believe it or not. You think anybody up here believes that we should go deeper in debt? Does that sound like a brilliant idea to you? $11 trillion deficit, and let's crank it up to 15 or 20? That's the way to go? Well, I'm not in favor of that, but I'm also not in favor of doing nothing. And ultimately, if I listen to these folks long enough, I still don't hear an answer. How do we do this? What do we just let things collapse? You just let the credit crisis go on? Go ahead, just let the banks fail? Let's nationalize the banks. And notwithstanding his fears about banks and nationalization and how that might work, that's been done in other places. Other governments intervene in lots of ways in lots of environments. America's a free trade place, in theory at least. But the rest of the world is operating on a fair trade analysis, not a free trade analysis. We can be free traders all we want to. The rest of the world is operating on a fair trade basis. They're looking out after their own self-interest. We can rely upon China for one thing. They'll look out after themselves. Done it a long time. They'll be doing it a long time after this discussion is over. They've invested in America for a reason, because their money was secure here, or they thought it was. It came as big of a surprise to them as it did to us. So what do? There are an equal number of economists who believe that the reason why the Depression lasted so long was because they didn't spend enough. Is that true or not? We don't know. Even these guys don't know the answer to that. They may think they do, they may even say they do, but we don't know. There was an amount of money spent. It did what it did. I'm going to suggest to you that this is a lot less about nickels and numbers than it is about perception. China invested in America because of the perception that we're a quality place to put their money. Americans are fearful right now. If you don't believe it, wander around the marketplace anywhere you want to, talk to people, and see what they say. Fear is a very, very, very strong motivator in life. If we do nothing, if our government does nothing, if we just sit around, we will see collapse. It's not just collapse here. In a globalized world, unlike the 20s or the 30s, in a globalized world like we have now, we're awfully interdependent with the rest of the world. I'm not so worried about America. We'll recover. We always do. We're a very ingenious, educated, capable group of people. We're the freest country in the world. Opportunities everywhere around here. But in the rest of the world, I'm not so sure. If our economies collapse, if Europe collapses, particularly Eastern Europe is facing serious issues right now. As that occurs, you'll see power vacuums. You'll see war. You'll see famine. You'll see a destabilized world. I can't believe that's in our best interest. So America, like England and Germany and France and China, have all chipped in and are throwing money at this problem because that's the only thing they know to do. When somebody comes up with a better answer, I think we ought to take a look at that. But till then, notwithstanding the fact I don't like adding money to the debt, notwithstanding the fact that I don't like debt as a percentage of GDP, notwithstanding the fact that I don't like lots of things about it, I accept that doing something is better than doing nothing, and that creating the perception that things are going to get better, that we're going to have jobs, that there is a support network because of the United States government, I believe that will create a more positive environment, lend itself more toward folks that will be willing to save and not, as my learned counsel suggested, put their money in a mattress. The harder question in my mind is, what do we spend the money for? I'm shocked and amazed that we're bailing out an auto industry. I'm just a country boy. I like cars. I like American cars. Don't drive one anymore. But the point of the story is, I like cars. But how come those guys? How come not the Maytag workers? How come those workers are unique? I'm not so sure bailing out specific industries is a good idea, but the one exception is the financial sector. We're going to have to do something because Americans desperately need the cash and the lending, and we're going to have to do something about it.